everybody! It is not even lunchtime when I'm shooting this video, and feminism has already treated me like a queen. Thanks to feminism, I woke up without a kid. I went jogging for a very long distance, not to brag, and no one slammed me up against the wall and said, "What are you doing? Your uterus is gonna explode if you keep moving like that." I was able to buy my morning coffee with my very own credit card in my very own name, which I wasn't legally allowed to do until 1964. This week's Ask Cristen question is coming from frequent stuff Mom never told you commenter Satanist Sin. Can you make a list of feminism's accomplishments? I can't think of anything other than stuff my grandmother did. Please help. This is a question that's so often asked in a trollish kind of way, as if feminism, capital F, this like feminist corporation should be issuing an annual report every year just to prove that it is still relevant. But Satanist Sin, you're I feel like if I say Satanist Sin 7 times, you will appear, and I am way over my limit. I am going to entertain your request for a list of feminism's accomplishments. All I had to do, really, to find enough material to talk about for this one video is go back and offer a snapshot of some of the high points, just some of the high points of what feminism has accomplished only since 2012. First and most obviously, feminism continues to open professional doors for women that have previously been closed, whether due to cultural, institutional, or even legal factors. In 2012, a record number of women were elected to Congress, and the same thing happened in Canadian Parliament a few weeks ago. Then in 2013, the US military opened up combat roles to women for the first time. Talk about breaking down some pretty historic reservations about places where women should and should not go. Even though on average women earn less money than men do, in 2014, 37% of women were the breadwinners in their households, which is up from just 4% in 1970. In terms of men, that whole women being allowed to be breadwinners thing opens up a lot more opportunities for you to define and choose what kind of career path and family role works best for you and your family. Second big thing, feminism has also paved the way for mandating new protections for some of the most vulnerable members of our society. In 2013, 39 states passed laws to combat sex and labor trafficking as well as assist survivors, 94% of whom are female. Feminism accomplishment number 3, raising awareness and accountability and also passing new laws regarding sexual access to each other's bodies. In 2014, the White House established its task force to protect students from sexual assault, and California became the very first state to pass a law codifying what affirmative sexual consent means. In 2014, the US Justice Department launched a pilot program to allow Native American reservations to try non-Native Americans for crimes of domestic violence and assault for the very first time. And feminism's recent accomplishments aren't just about improving the lives of women, it's also about redefining what's acceptable for men as well. In 2014, a former CNN reporter named Josh Levs won an EEOC case brought against Time Warner regarding his paltry paternity leave. That media giant changed its parental leave policy, granting 6 weeks paid leave to all new parents, not just new moms. Fifth huge feminist accomplishment, swiftly creating new laws regarding crimes that weren't even possible when suffragists and second waivers were protesting. Case in point, revenge porn. In the past year, a slew of states have outlawed the distribution of so-called revenge or non-consensual pornography, and a federal bill is in the works. In the meantime, internet heavy hitters, including Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, and Google, have all established anti-revenge porn policies. And even though the gender wage gap hasn't closed across the board, feminism is saving women money, honey. In Canada, for instance, in July 2015, the so-called tampon tax, or federal tax on menstrual hygiene products, was removed. and thrown out like an old tampon. And a similar initiative is underway in the United States, because seriously, paying more for tampons? More symbolically, feminism has also increasingly allied with other human and civil rights movements seeking equality for all people, regardless of ethnicity, gender identity, or sexual orientation. Yes, I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, which was started by 3 queer Black women, Alicia Garza, Patricia Cullors, and Opal Tometi, and also about a really big thing that happened in the United States on June 26, 2015, which was gay marriage being legalized. While no, those were not the initiatives of feminists, being allies is important feminist work. So, Satanist sin. I mean, feminism has been pretty busy. But now, dear viewers, that I've given you like this much of what feminism has accomplished, I'm really curious, cautiously, because this is YouTube, to know what that means to you. Let me know in the comments. And thanks everybody who watched and commented on last week's Ask Cristen video. Do doctors ignore women? Susan Millard said, I had a doctor that I was seeing for period pain and heavy bleeding years ago. Just one of his choice things he said to me was, periods are supposed to hurt. Jen Lale commented, my hubs and I have had almost identical knee pain while serving in the Air Force. It took 18 months for me to have surgery, at which they found they could no longer fix the problem, and 4 years later the small tear ended up ripping my ligament completely because they refused to sew it up even after I was discharged. On the flip side, my hub suffered with identical pain with a different injury. He fell out on a PT test and got an MRI finding that he needed surgery. Within 1 month, he was under the knife and measured for a custom brace after half his cartilage was removed. It's still painful for both of us, but at least one of us can complete the commitment we both signed for. And Brief Show said, doctors absolutely listen to men better across the board. I'm a caregiver, and whenever I try explaining what my relative is going through, the doctors, many of them, flat out ignore me. Yet when my dad goes with her, they listen. I've seen it several times. Now, dear viewers, I want to know what's on your mind. What kind of questions do you have? Be sure to ask me so I can give you some answers.